Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Binge Battle. I am your host, Mark Ellis, and I am so excited for this particular episode, not just because, again, we have my friends on the show, but they're also super talented, two of my dear companions in this crazy world of ours, and we're talking about the show that gets us through those tough times. It's a positive light in a dark world, 2 seasons in now. Ted Lasso is our topic of conversation. So many great Ted Lasso questions. They're going to be answered and debated by our 2 incredible contestants. Here's how it works. We're going to go through rounds. We have 4 rounds total. We do have a tiebreaker round if necessary. We're going to hear arguments, rebuttals, and a final statement from each competitor. And then that's when the pressure falls on me. I'm going to have to make a decision as to who I liked better in that particular round. Not as a person, because I love them all, but just as far as that particular answer you gave, am I going this way or am I going that way? So with all of that out of the way, let's meet today's fearless warriors. Up first, you know her as a Rotten Tomatoes correspondent. You see her on virtually every red carpet imaginable, from big-time movie premieres to the Oscars themselves.
The Oscars.
It is Naz Perez. Naz, at Naz Perez, how are you? Welcome to Binge Battle.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. I love Ted Lasso so much, and I believe in you and Josh so much. So I'm very much looking forward to an awesome, uplifting, semi-competitive debate about the show.
Well, you intimated at who you're going against, and he is someone who I first discovered in a dumpster behind the Laugh Factory. And ever since then, he's gone on to an incredible career that has seen him host Eating History, his own TV show, and now he is a prominent member, one of the creators of the Good People Association. They currently have a Kickstarter for a board game called Futility, the actual game of living. Oh. He created that, and I'm the champion of it, so maybe he'll be the champion of my game today. Josh Macuga, at Josh Macuga. Hello, sir. It's been too long.
Mark, thank you so much for the intro. I found out something recently via social media, and that's the fact that both Naz and I were actually the Ted Lassos of our graduating classes. We were both named Most School Spirit. Mark, I led the pep rallies at Upper St. Clair High School outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Go Panthers!
Wait, Josh, I led the pep rallies at West Boca High. Go Bulls. But
Go
also,
Bulls!
I wanted to say this before, but I couldn't because you hadn't introduced who I'm going up against today. But I just want to make a quick note to everyone watching right now. It is almost unfair that I'm going up against Ted Lasso reincarnated in real life. Like, Josh Macuga actually is Ted Lasso.
Oh,
so,
Naz, you couldn't have said a nicer thing to me.
Unfair advantage there. Just had to
Have
say.
either one of you ever coached a team?
Yes, many a team. Really, Naz?
What,
oh, man.
What would I coach? The hair straightening?
You're a great tennis player, Naz.
I am advanced beginner is what my instructor calls me. But I am
beginner.
no Billie Jean King.
All right, Josh, your coaching experience is limited to what?
I coached Little League Baseball. I coached 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade basketball back in my high school days. I have taught many a person how to play golf. One of them I was hoping would be Mark Ellis, but he has since, he's deserted my lessons. I put up a range in my backyard and he has left me, but I can still, Naz, believe that I can get Mark on the golf course. That is a goal of mine.
Mark, is golf just a no-go for you?
I used to be a pretty good golfer, and then I stopped playing, and Josh wants to get me back in the ring. And this is how life happens, is that you hang out with your buddies, you go out all over the world and have adventures, and then one of them has a kid, and then the next thing you know, it's, hey, I can't go, but can you come over and hit golf balls with me into my net in the backyard? So we're all learning how to get along, and Ted Lasso a lot of times shows us the way. So if our competitors are ready to get going, I do have this, by the way. I have a prize that it's just off camera, but I will award it to the winner of today's match. So a little bit extra pressure for both of you. So here we go. Round number 1 is upon us, and we are jumping right into it. This is going to include both seasons of Ted Lasso. Your question, round number 1, best character not named Ted Lasso. Josh Macuga, you yourself are a character, but who's the best character in Ted Lasso?
Well, Mark, the show is maybe the greatest ensemble cast in the history of comedy, and that includes shows like Friends, Seinfeld, Family Ties, if they made Let's Be Cops a TV show, something like that. And in my humble opinion, Naz, Mark, it's Leslie Higgins. Okay, he is the lovable glue that keeps AFC Richmond together. Okay, he is the man constantly searching for an office when in reality, the entire club is his office. The entire staff is not having Leslie search for an office. It's the office of Leslie that searches for all of them. What character would you have on a show that could get the entire team, French models and all, to come to his house, his tiny London flat for Christmas? Okay. He is part of the Diamond Dogs. He is a lover of puns. He's not a lovable loser, right? Maybe in episodes 1 and 2, he was a bit of a lovable loser. But since then, the growth of Leslie Higgins has been on a meteoric rise to absolute lovability.
All right. You could have just said that you love him because he's got great puns like you do, but you gave us a nice explanation there. And so the bar has been set pretty high right out of the gate. We go to Naz Perez for your opening argument. Best character.
Okay, we all know that it's Roy Kent, right? He's here, he's there, he's every effing where. The reason why Roy Kent is the best character, there's so many thoughts in my head. The first one is that Jason Sudeikis wanted to make a show. He was inspired by Robin Williams when making Ted Lasso, because Robin Williams was a man who embodied male characters on television that celebrated the divine feminine. And when I think of characters that celebrate the divine feminine, I think of Roy Kent. Like when he looked in Keely's eyes and he said, "You deserve to feel like you are struck by lightning," I was like, oh my God, this is the a-hole we're actually supposed to love. He is just the ideal human. He's in touch with his feminine side. He hangs out with women who are like over 60 years old and does yoga with them and drinks wine and watches reality TV. He just has a perfect balance of feminine and masculine energy. Like when he hugged Jamie Tarr after he punched his dad. He also uses fear to just be a better person, like, which is what we're all supposed to do in life. Like when he was really clingy with Keely in their relationship, and then he realized that she needed space, he wasn't afraid to just recognize that and then give her the space that he needed. He's also not afraid to just speak his mind and like say what's on his mind. He told Jamie, like, stop picking on Nate. He also told Rebecca when they went on that double date, when she was like with that random guy, he's like, you deserve more than fine. And I'm like, yes, everything Roy Kent says. I'm like, this is how we should just act as humans. He also isn't afraid to leave his comfort zone. Like he was skeptical about being a sports broadcaster, but then he tried it. And then he knew when to leave. He knew when he had outgrown it and it wasn't what he really wanted to do. And I thought that moment was also very inspiring, because a lot of people typically don't know like when to leave a job or when to just like step out of their comfort zone. All the acts of kindness he does for Phoebe, his niece. He went around on Christmas literally to try and find her a dentist. He inspired Isaac to rediscover the fun in football. He has a superb use of the F word, like probably close to Logan Roy from Succession. He's probably the second character on television that just like curses so perfectly. And just all in all, in summation, Roy Kent is the best. And Brett Goldstein, the character who is Roy Kent, he was a writer on the show originally. And at the end of the season, he told everyone in the room, he emailed everyone and he was like, I feel like I am this character. And, but if you guys don't think so, we can like pretend like I never sent this email and it never happened. And they casted him and never looked back and never auditioned anyone else. And Roy Kent is the best.
Good backstory there. And of course, Roy Kent, for me personally, is Uncle Goals. So yeah, I can identify with Roy Kent, but I can also identify with Higgins in my previous experiences as well. So two good characters here. Did we say Ted Lasso is off the table? I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how I just show up to host it. We go back to Josh Bakuga for a quick rebuttal here, 30 seconds or less. Why is Higgins the best character over someone like Roy Kent?
Naz, the one and only, the pride of Boca Raton High School.
West Boca High. There's two.
West Boca.
Which
I
Ariana
apologize.
Grande went to. I went to
Whoa.
West Boca High.
Whoa. Yeah. Here's the thing. One thing that Naz didn't bring into this was the reason that Roy Kent could be the greatest character on the show is the amount of chest hair that he has. Okay. Now I'm going to take that away. I'm going to take that off the table. And I'm going to tell you why Leslie Higgins is a better character than Roy Kent. Okay. Roy Kent is a bit of a layup in terms of sports, a grumpy, aging veteran with bad knees and a salty attitude who does grow throughout the show. He is a stalwart, a stone of positivity, and yet grounded reality. Whereas Leslie Higgins comes out of nowhere in every episode to really give you that end of Doogie Howser moment when he types on his computer, that moment of levity that you may need for a Nate, a Ted Lasso, a Coach Beard, a Rebecca, a Keeley, even a Roy Kent. They all need their Leslie Higgins. And without Leslie Higgins, all of it is just a maelstrom of emotion.
Okay,
Wow.
so Higgins really, Josh, leaning into the glue argument where Higgins is really the one keeping that locker room, that entire franchise, chugling some more. So Naz, pretty stiff competition here. Higgins is starting to show his good side. How about Roy Kent over Higgins? Why?
A lot of chest hair.
Listen, I'm going to counter your chest hair with the fact that we can't pick someone who once had a jazz beard in life as the best character. You know, I just gotta go. I gotta go with Roy Kent. But I will say, Mark, I can't really put down Leslie Higgins because I love Higgins, and I almost feel like I would have to go to confession at mass if I were to do that. All I can do is stand by my argument and my 8 reasons why Roy Kent is the greatest character. And we all know he was just the rising star of season 2. And the fact that Brett Goldstein won an Emmy and Jeremy Swift didn't, I would say that most people would agree Roy Kent is the better character.
All right. So Roy Kent and Leslie Higgins showing up to compete just like Roy Kent used to on the pitch. Josh Macuga, your final statement.
I know how hard it is, Mark, for you to say pitch or nil or anything of that nature. As a man that is more a fan of the football where you use your hands as opposed to just feet, I will just say this. When dealing in the sense of who's better, Roy Kent or Leslie Higgins, I think you just kind of got to give a Roy Kent.
That was my final statement.
It's Leslie Higgins. I stole it. Oh, Wes Boca, where are you at?
It's a great question to ask, Naz. Wes Boca, where you at? He took one of your better arguments, it seems. So you can just use Roy Kent.
I was literally going to do that because I can't curse here, but I guess all I can do is just remind you that Leslie Higgins does not have a chant in AFC Richmond. And Roy Kent, he's here, he's there, he's every effing where. He's Roy Kent. And I'll end with that. All
right. So now, it's like, I don't know why they do this to me. I show up and I just want to hang out with my friends, but now I have to make a very tough decision. It's early. It's only round number 1. But the point on the board for best character between Roy Kent and Leslie Higgins. It's such a compelling argument that Josh makes, with Higgins really being the secretive glue that you don't really think about. Shouldn't be mentioned in an MVP conversation necessarily, but Higgins is just that guy off the bench who can give you those points when you need them the most. But Roy Kent is one of the stars of the show for a reason. And this is not just because he ran around everywhere on Christmas morning looking for a good dentist for his niece. And I hope to never be in that situation. But if I was, you all know I would do that. I feel like Roy Kent has just been on such a journey in these last 2 episodes. We know who Higgins is. Higgins is more of a known commodity. Roy Kent continues to evolve in an interesting manner. So I think I have to give the point to West Boca High. Naz Perez gets the point, and even the chest-haired. I mean, look, you could say Macuga is like a Roy Kent / Ted Lasso hybrid almost because of your look, your demeanor sometimes. Sometimes Ted Lasso, sometimes Roy Kent. So a point on the board for Naz Perez as we go into topic number 2.
Wait, can I just say one thing real quick? Can we just say that maybe we don't go into the best scene in the actual show, but I personally think the best scene in all seasons is when Roy Kent and Keeley smell her breath on Christmas morning. I rewound that scene probably 6 to 10 times where he was just like, yeah. It's so good. It is so good. The acting in that scene is spot on.
It's pretty great. Maybe you should have taken Roy Kent then, but Naz grabbed Roy Kent and gets a 1-0 lead. And so now we stay with Josh Macuga, who gets to kick off round number 2. And that is going to be the topic of your favorite pairing / couple. So we wanted to keep this as broad as possible. Pairing, couple, Josh, it's a wide thing to interpret. How do you?
Well, let me just piggyback off West Boca's own, the pride of West Boca. Go Bulls. Roy Kent and Jamie Tart have had a tumultuous relationship, highs and lows as these seasons have gone on, but without each other's yin and yang. Okay. I mean, you could go Ted Lasso and Coach Beer. You could go Rebecca and Higgins. You could go Rebecca and Keely. You could go Keely and Roy. There are so many relationships in this show that really make it all one beautiful mess. But without your two megastars on the team, on the pitch, if you will, Mark, okay? Jamie Tart, or Roy Kent. Without the two of them, without your mega superstar and your aging veteran, your Albert Pujols to your Cody Bellinger or whoever hit that home run last night, okay? Your Clayton Kershaw to whoever's coming up in the farm system, to your Tiger Woods, to your Colin Morikawas, okay? That relationship happens in sports all of the time, and how they have progressed it from mortal enemies to rivals to then almost brothers to then forgivable enemies to now needing each other. It's not a symbiotic relationship. It's a commensalistic relationship, meaning there is a way that they both need to coexist at the same time in order for them to survive.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, I almost had their relationship more as like a Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka at the beginning, and then it turns into something else. But that's a great call. And so again, it's pairing / couple. Josh went with a pairing, Naz Perez. How did you see this question?
I'm just laughing because someone from NBC Sports has got to call the three of us at some point. Listen, everyone loves a good sports pairing. You know, I was a diehard Pau Kobe girl. You know, it was Pau Gasol and Kobe Bryant all the way.
Classic pairing.
However, this show, it's funny that you picked Roy Kent in one of your pairings because my pairing is Leslie and Julie Higgins. Leslie and Julie. Yes. So Leslie and Julie Higgins are played by Jeremy Swift and Mary Roscoe. Did you guys know that they are married in real life?
Say what?
They are my favorite pairing in real life, and they're my favorite pairing in the show. They met on a play, and that they adopted 2 children in real life, and they're my favorite pairing on the show because, as you said, Josh, in the last category, they opened their house up on Christmas to all the players whose families weren't in town, which I just think is so beautiful. I also love the fact that Julie is just ride or die. She drives her husband to work in this little car. There's like 5 of them packed in there, but they, you know, she drives him to work and she tells him, you know, I hope your boss has a heart attack today because she knows his boss is giving him a hard time. And also just their love story is so incredible. The fact that Leslie had like hair out to here, was in a bar while She's a Rainbow by the Rolling Stones is playing, and he was doing upright air bass with a beer in his hand, and it fell on top of him, and everyone laughed at him except for her. She handed him a damn towel, and they have been married for 29 years ever since. Leslie and Julie Higgins and Jeremy Swift and Mary Roscoe are my favorite couple, favorite pairing in Ted Lasso and in real life. Boom.
Oh, you all making me emotional. And this backstory that you came prepared with, Naz. Again, I'm not going to fact check it. I'm just going to trust you and say that is amazing. They met on a play, Josh. How did Jamie Kent and Roy Tart? Jamie Tart, Roy Kent. Now I'm trying to make them a couple. Mm-hmm. What is your rebuttal? Why are they a better pairing than the Higginses are a couple?
Well, I believe their ship name is Tent.
That's what I was looking for.
Oh, that's a good one.
There you go. It's a beautiful love story, and they didn't call her Nasty Naz Perez in high school for nothing. She comes prepared, Mark. She comes with research. Okay, you don't come to a binge battle like this without doing your due diligence, and that's what Naz did. Just like Roy Kent and Jamie Tart spent their whole lives kicking a little ball around from pitches outside of
That's not true.
outside of apartment buildings in East and West London, or the dodgy end from Love Actually, okay? And they've had that ball attached to their foot their entire life. So when they got to the main stage, they knew that they were the best when they had to be. But when the ball gets a little further from your foot, Mark, and you can't quite catch it anymore, you need somebody there to remind you, pick you back up, and teach you what you got into soccer/football/footy in the first place, and that's the love of the game.
I feel like we should point this out to both competitors, really, is that you don't have to use all of your time, especially if it's going to be digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole in any particular argument. So Makuga with his work cut out for him. Naz, you might be able to deal the death blow right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna give everyone one good reason why Josh Makuga cannot win this category, and it is because Jamie Tart went behind Roy Kent's back and told his girlfriend he's still in love with her. And that is not something you do if you're a favorite pairing. I'm sorry. That's just crossing the line. It's not okay with me.
Okay, so Naz shortened to the point and not happy with how the whole Tart-Kent pairing has played out. The Higgins couple, I would dare say, a little more jovial from time to time. Josh Makuga, you have a final statement now. Do you want to use it?
Mark, I'll just say this. They might be in love in real life, and they might be in love in the show. But I don't know. I think that I'm... Shut up. All right.
I wish we were all in person. Right?
I never win these things anyway.
So it does appear that...
Just so everyone knows, I am a returning loser to Binge Battle. I was one of the very first episodes of Binge Battle. We did The Office, and I am looking to sort of, what's the word, Mark? What's the sports term?
You're searching for redemption.
Thank you. I'm searching for my comeback.
Okay.
So this feels like y'all are both the actual squad in Ted Lasso, where you're just fighting for every ounce of respect that you can. And I got to say, Josh had me the opening argument. He really did. He had me with the Roy Kent, Jamie Tart, because to be a pairing, you don't always have to be the best of friends necessarily. You just have to have a good dichotomy for the show, and that's what they bring to it. But Naz had a better argument with the Higgins, and I know that Josh may be disappointed going down 2-0 early in the match, but I know that there's going to be a little spark of joy in Josh's heart knowing that his guy, Higgins, finally gets a win in this round. It's 2-0 in favor of Naz Perez as we get to round 3. So now Josh Makuga, all of a sudden, his back is against the wall. Will he respond like his Pittsburgh Steelers have done so many times over the years? Fighting out of Upper Sinclair, Josh Makuga now has to win this round in order to extend the match. And round number 3's topic is the best season. Josh, once again, as loser of the previous round, you get to tee off first. What do you got? Season 1 or season 2?
Okay. Ted Lasso is one of those few shows where both seasons make almost like a perfect little movie, and we're only at like the midpoint of a movie as we head towards I would imagine 5 total seasons of Ted Lasso would probably be what we'll get. But season 1 changed how we watch TV, especially during the pandemic. It actually, I think, put Apple TV on the map. It changed pitch rooms from in Hollywood across the building. If you are a screenwriter or you are pitching TV shows like I do and currently do, and when you go into a pitch room, now a Zoom pitch room, and they say, can you make it a little more like Ted Lasso? You know the show has changed the game. And that season 1, from beginning to end, has so many twists and turns that aren't tropic at all. There are very few tropes in season 1 of Ted Lasso that they actually pursue. That it's 12 episodes of absolute perfection. That's not cheapening season 2. I'm just saying season 1 of Ted Lasso legitimately changed how we watch and how we ingest and how we write and pitch comedy television.
All right. So Makuga rebounds from an interesting argument in round 2 to give us a very salient point as to how Ted Lasso really has changed the landscape and furthered the advent of streaming television with Ted Lasso. So, okay, the argument has been set. Naz, I imagine you're going season 2.
I am going with season 2. Now, I do want to state that when season 2 started, I was very worried because season 1, as you said, Josh, was just so, it was a show everybody was looking for when Schitt's Creek ended. It was like, we need medicine. And I agree that it really did save a lot of people in the world. And I'm sure it saved some of the actors that work on the show. When season 2 started, I was very nervous because I was like, where is this going? A dog dies and then it's Christmas and there's no stakes. Up until therapist Sharon Tate comes to town. And the story arc between Ted Lasso and this
Sharon Tate is not her name.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Sharon Tate is another historical figure.
Oh my God, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why that came out like that. Okay.
You were in the moment. Let's keep going.
So once the storyline between Ted Lasso and therapist Sharon came to light, I was like, this is no longer just an entertaining show. This is a very important show to talk about mental health through the lens of hetero men working in sports, and to normalize that conversation. I was like, this is really important. Ted Lasso himself went from being a cartoon character, someone who was reminiscent of Robin Williams, someone we really loved and loved to quote, but he all of a sudden became human. He became a real person. And that's why I love season 2. And also, we just got so much more story in general. Like I mentioned, Roy Kent, my favorite character, the best character, because I won that category. He becomes a rising star. Rebecca has an affair with Sam Abasanya. Like, what? That's the best storyline ever. Jamie Tart all of a sudden becomes rootable. Nate the Great becomes Nate the Worst in one of the greatest plot twists in like modern sitcoms. You know, Danny Rojas overcomes a fear. So we just get so much story, and I'm so excited to see where this goes. But literally the mental health and the therapy storyline alone to me is why season 2 is better than season 1, and something that we rarely see on television. And I really hope we get to see more of.
Okay, so season 1 launching us into this world of Ted Lasso. Season 2 peeling back some of the layers of that fun to reveal that we all could use a little bit of work. Josh, why is season 1 better than season 2?
Well, Mark, season 2 has some solid storylines. Okay, yes, Rebecca and Sam, and I agree. Dr. Sharon Fieldstone, played by Sarah Niles. I did a quick little Google search there during your argument.
Thank you.
And you know, I think that's one thing, and hopefully that we've learned during the pandemic, as we all have struggled and are struggling, that we all are trying to admit, be cognizant, be aware, and talk about mental health. And that's one beautiful thing that Ted Lasso does and has been doing by spreading positivity since season 1. Season 2 feels a little formulaic at points. It's a very good season, but it is not the season 1 that I mean, on Apple TV, you had Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, and Steve Carell do a show that nobody cares about. And Jason Sudeikis and a group of actors that we know but aren't household names change the landscape of a streaming service. I'm just going to say it. Season 1 did for positivity, mental health, soccer in the United States that no TV show has ever done.
It hit like a comet, and it is a very tough act to follow that with anything. And as you intimated, that maybe it's the fun of season 1 versus the important topics of season 2. Your rebuttal can expand on that if you want.
Yeah, I do. I just want to make a note that the reason why season 1 to me wasn't 10 out of 10 was because when Rebecca admits to Ted why she hired him, I was like, man, like, why didn't they like save this? You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like it felt like it could have been saved. And that was sort of my qualm with that. What I will say is I just want to back up everything I said about season 2 already. It is also more diverse. It also gives women just a bigger platform, like to be able to see the friendship and the mentorship between Rebecca and Keely has been really beautiful. The diversity, to be able to bring, Nigeria and make that we just got so much more diversity. I was going to say how they had a reference towards I May Destroy You. And I was like, this is such a great, this show is just so, so good. And for all those reasons that I can't articulate very well, season 2 is still my favorite.
I would say both competitors' articulation is spot on because, like Ted Lasso might say, borrowing a phrase from a famous athlete, we're talking about practice, except this is not practice. We're in the game now, Josh. Your final argument about why season 1 is better than season 2. What do you want to drop the mic with?
I'll drop the mic with this. Why is Nate's hair going gray, and why haven't they referenced and told us why?
Leave an open-ended argument. I like it. All right, Naz. Now it's your turn for your final statement.
I'm so mad I didn't open an article that literally read why Nate's hair is getting grayer, and I didn't click on it. I probably would have just murked you right now if I knew why. Well, thank you for bringing up the reason why season 2 is the best. I mean, who saw that coming, right? Plot twist gets you excited for season 3, unlike season 1 did by, like I said, sort of just kiboshing this big thing that we were all holding on to as far as story goes.
Y'all are really making this tough because here's how I look at season 2 is that Naz brings up so many great points is that mental health, particularly in the world of highly competitive athletics at the professional level, is something that we're just starting to talk about as a mass audience. And Josh, you and I know a lot of NFL coaches that probably could have used some mental health a long time ago and some assistance in that realm. But then you look at season 1, and I love the argument that Josh made where it did change the landscape, not just of what we enjoy on TV, but literally how TV shows are pitched now. The name Ted Lasso probably comes up in 90% of pitch meetings, regardless of what format or what genre you're aiming your show or your movie to be in. And so while season 2 took some bold steps and it took some chances, it had to follow the greatness of season 1. Season 1 is why we love Ted Lasso. Season 2 maybe made us cement that love even further, but the reason why we fell in love, that first moment, it was love at first sight, and that would be season 1. So Josh, congratulations. You're on the board. It is 2-1. There is no skunking today on Binge Battle, and that means that Josh could possibly tie the lead 2-2 and force overtime, but Naz can also score the knockout if she has a good round 4. And that topic is going to be your favorite episode, the best episode of them all in Ted Lasso. Naz Perez, you get to tee off.
Okay, so if we love Ted Lasso because it makes us all feel very warm inside, then season 2, episode 5, titled Rainbow, is the feeling of having warm chocolate cake in your stomach. This is the episode where we are introduced to rom-communism, a very important concept we should all know about, where Ted explains how everything in life is going to work out just like it does in a rom-com. And he woos Roy Kent to come back to his love, AFC Richmond, and to coach and to be a part of the Diamond Dogs. And another reason why we love Ted Lasso so much is because I realized that every episode is just a self-contained love story. And I thought, how cool that this episode, Rainbow, is a self-contained love story that's not romantic. It's a love story between a man in football and a man and another man. It's like, it's their friendship. And all the Harry Met Sally references alone is the reason why this episode deserves all the awards. Roy Kent's rom-com run to the stadium under She's a Rainbow by the Rolling Stones, how they tied that in with Leslie Higgins' ringtone for his wife, Julie Higgins, favorite pairing on the show. It was just all so perfect. And the last thing I'll say is there was just something for me personally so cool about this sports story that's inherently masculine being told through the lens of a rom-com that's inherently feminine. And I thought it was just so beautifully done. And this episode just spoke to my soul as someone that grew up in the 90s and loves rom-coms and loves Ted Lasso. And Nate stands up for himself at the restaurant, and Rebecca matches with someone on a dating app, and Roy Kent joins the Diamond Dogs. I mean, like, there's a lot of setup there for what was to come in season 2. So for that reason, all those reasons, Rainbow's my fave.
Naz, you're lucky it was a great argument, because otherwise I would have tuned out after you said chocolate cake. I haven't had lunch yet, and that sounds amazing. Josh McCouga, I imagine you're going with some episode, maybe the particular one from season 1 where they reference Hotel Room 5150. Is that right?
That is incorrect, Mark. Though that was my second choice, was the episode where they go on the road and Keely is in the hotel room doing those the hotel room announcements. I went with the only bottle episode in the entire series, and I went with After Hours, Coach After Hours. It'd be season 2, episode 9, and Beard After Hours. I apologize. It's molded after a Martin Scorsese movie called After Hours, starring Griffin Dunn, Roseanne Arquette, and the reason I love bottle episodes in TV shows, whether it was The Fly in Breaking Bad or Pine Barrens in The Sopranos, we were on this feverish pitch set in motion by Naz's episode in episode 5, right? And I think taking the break in After Hours, that bottle episode of Coach Beard, who created the show, the actor created the show with Jason Sudeikis. We've only known Coach Beard as the little bit of the comedic aside, really, a minor character, although an albeit necessary character. But Coach Beard After Hours puts you on this beautiful ticking clock of love with Jane, who a lot of people don't love, with the 3 locals at the tavern, who, again, are a necessary part of the show, but have never gotten their time in the spotlight. A look at London, a look at just how hard it is as an athlete mentally and a coach mentally, how different people take losses, how different people take setbacks. And that beautiful night that Coach Beard spent in London amidst the people really showed you how diverse and how big the world of Ted Lasso is, and just how much we needed that bottle episode. When we watched the episode, we finished it, and my wife said, I didn't like it. We didn't need it. And then the next morning she goes, I think that was my favorite episode. That's how that episode sits in your brain. Coach Beard After Hours is the exact palate cleanser we needed to then take us into the end of season 2, leaving us with the cliffhangers that are still sitting right here. What's going to happen in Ted Lasso?
And this is breaking news to everyone watching Binge Battle right now, is that we get word Josh McCouga might have won a debate against his wife, and that would be the first time that has ever happened. So congratulations, Josh.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you so much.
That should feel like 5 points on this show. And we're back to you. Why is your episode, you all both picked season 2 episodes, which is interesting. Why is your episode better than that, as Josh would say, the self-contained bottle episode of Beard After Hours?
You just brought up a great point. I thought it was very interesting for everyone watching that Josh McCouga, who claims season 1 is the best, his favorite episode is in season 2. I just think that that's really interesting, and we should let that marinate for a second and maybe go back to the last category.
One episode does not a season make. Naz. Sorry.
I'm just kidding. I love Beard After Hours. I love that episode so much. I wanted Beard to finally get his time. Also, any content that can elevate a cannabis experience for me personally, chef's kiss. And that was it, right? That was that Ted episode. It's not the best because I don't feel like we learned much more about Beard, which is why I think your wife maybe had that instinct where she was like, we didn't need this. And it was almost like the Christmas episode already kind of did, you know what I mean? The Christmas episode was already a self-contained thing. So it's like, to do that again, it's like, come on, Ted's in therapy. Like, let's get this show going. Where's the finale going? I loved it. I don't know if I love the placement of it. And again, I mean, Harry Met Sally rom-coms are my favorite. Rom-communism, Roy Kent coming back to see Richmond. That just feels right at home for me. That feels like, yours feels like a number 2. Mine feels like a number 1.
Wow.
QB1, QB2. Looks like we're going Terry Bradshaw versus Mike Tomczak. Josh McCouga, 30 seconds for your rebuttal. Give us some more examples as to why your bottle episode is better than Naz's pick.
Yeah, please convince Mark because he's not completely convinced yet.
Definitely not. I will say this: as a kid of the '90s and as a complete romantic, rom-coms sit in my soul in a way that most men don't have them. I live for a rom-com, and I think that episode
we get it. You're Ted Lasso, Josh.
Was an absolute genius episode. But I think that you're wrong in the sense that we didn't learn a lot about Coach Beard. I think that what we learned about Coach Beard, and the most important part, is the emotional journey that people have with sports. Mark played sports, you played sports, we watch sports. People that don't watch sports have their things that they're dedicated to. And when you are set back, when you lose something that you were so excited to win, the body, the mind, and the soul goes to a place that you didn't know was possible. And that's what Coach Beard showed us in that episode. Handling loss in whatever case is so hard, and everybody does it very differently. And I think the beautiful part of that episode was to see somebody that has been so even keel the entire show us a little bit of emotion after what was the most heartbreaking loss of the entire show.
Okay.
Two stellar arguments, and this is the toughest decision to make yet. And so you each have your final statement left, and I'll just be honest, I'm just about 50-50 right now. And so these final statements, put a lot of thought into it. Think about it. And I'm going to put more pressure on y'all because the winner of today's match, I said get surprised, and it's right here. It's an actual box of Ted Lasso biscuits. These are the actual biscuits sent to me from the good people at Ted. You don't believe me? Here we go.
Did you make them yourself, Mark?
How stale are
the
they?
actual biscuits.
Whoa.
Oh my God, I must win. God, I'm so hungry now.
Oh,
That's
man.
right. I didn't even tell Christian that. See, Christian and I have no communication. That's our great engineer, Christian Rubalcaba. Him and I, we show up, we do our job. And I did watch both these episodes last night in preparing for today's binge battle. And again, I'm 50-50 on who gets the bit. Let's be honest, I'm going to be eating them as soon as this is done. Naz versus Josh. Naz, you're up for your final statement.
Okay.
One last chance to defend your episode from season 2.
Okay. Well, okay. Immediate thoughts in my head are if the reason why season 1 won is because of the impact it had on the world and in writing. Yes, it's great to have a relatability when people are crying after a sports game. Or we know that we all, as humans, put emotion into it, and we let go of those emotions in different ways. But to have a figure like Roy Kent, who is ever so inspiring, to be in a job that he was skeptical to take in the first place, that he was uncomfortable to take, and to know when to leave it and to go back to something that he wants to do, I think is even more inspiring. We all know people who work in jobs that they don't want to be in. And I don't know, I just think that arc of like going after what you really want and him just, I don't know, Roy Kent running to the stadium to me was just so much more cinematic and so much more powerful and meant so much more to the story and universe of Ted Lasso overall than sort of Beard's like fun one night, if that makes sense.
All right, Josh Bakuga, your last opportunity at Ted Lasso biscuits.
Okay.
Right on this final statement.
Rom-communism and how rom-coms work, for Ted to kind of spoil how the ending works of it, that everything works out in the end. I think we saw from the beginning of that episode that everything was going to work out. We didn't know what was going to happen at the end of After Hours, and that was the journey that it took us on. I love a happy ending. I love Matthew McConaughey following Kate Hudson down on a motorcycle to Gin Blossoms Follow You Down at the end of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I love that. But you know what else I love? I love a good mystery ending in shrouded haze at the end of a journey after a loss, because I've been there, and Barney's Beanery is the place to go for that.
Got it. Okay, so if you want to support toxic relationships, that's fine. Let's just say that.
I'm just surprised that Josh used an example from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days instead of Failure to Launch, where we all know who played Matthew McConaughey's dad.
That would be Terry Bradshaw, 4-time Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Whoa.
That is correct. So now it all falls upon my broad shoulders to make a decision here, which could see the match being decided. And so Naz selected the Rainbow episode, and the Rainbow episode to me is just so inspiring because it is why we love sports, and it's why we continue to believe in people, is because they can evolve, they can change, and we see that with Roy Kent throughout the 2 episodes and indeed the 2 series that we get. But then there's those little mini moments where we see a spark of something different, and Rainbow certainly has that. But Josh countered well with episode 9, Beard After Hours, because Coach Beard, somebody who we didn't know that we thought we needed more insight to, ended up giving us that and a whole lot more. And so where this was one for me was when Naz said that it just felt a little misplaced being that late in season 2, because it was a bottle episode and we were so ready to see the finale, and then we had to wait another episode to get there. And so while I love Coach Beard, might be my favorite character on the show, I feel like that episode wasn't the perfect placement, where I feel like Rainbow hit exactly when we needed, because there was some doubt cast over season 2. Could it live up to the hype? We're not sure about the first few episodes. That episode hits, and then season 2 could compete with season 1.
We still had 3 more episodes at Coach Beard After Hours. We needed that. We needed the palate cleanser. You just don't go from steak. Never mind. All right. You know what? I never win these things. Way to go, Wes Boca.
Well, now we see how you handle losing.
I'm kidding.
No wonder that was
I will give Naz her roses first as the West Boca class president. Naz, you get to celebrate. Congratulations on your win. But I want to keep both y'all around for a sec, because I need to get some streaming recommendations too. It's not just about competing and winning some biscuits that may or may not make it all the way over to your place. It's about whether you can give us something else to watch that maybe it's in the vein of Ted Lasso, or just maybe it's something else that we need to check out. So Naz, you are the winner. You get to tell us, what should everybody who's watching this be checking out next?
I first just need to say thank you, Mark. This is just like, I'm so happy right now. Anyways.
Congrats, Naz. Love you so much.
If you are in a stable marriage or I'm going total opposite of Ted Lasso. There's a show on HBO. It's a limited series, 5 episodes. It's called Scenes from a Marriage, and it stars Jessica Chastain and Oscar Isaac. And it is some of the most raw, intense acting. If I could give an Oscar statue to actors on television, it would be this show. It is based on a Swedish mini TV series from 1973 by Ingmar Bergman.
Whoa.
And when that came out, it was controversial, actually, because divorce rates were rising in Europe, and a lot of people were blaming that. This is a remake of it, but it switches to gender roles, which is why I'm so attracted to this version of Scenes of a Marriage. So again, 5 episodes, incredible acting. It follows a couple over 10 years, covers love, monogamy, divorce, hate, and it's real intense, but it's real good.
Okay, so you can recommend that to couples. You can recommend it to me. I'm going to perish alone. We all know this. You're recommending that to couples as well?
No, I'm recommending it to everyone. I just think if you are, I just think be wary. It's a lot emotionally. It's
all right.
Opposite of Ted Lasso.
Okay, Josh, that's a pretty heavy streaming recommendation. How do you counter, which maybe could give you 2 points?
Yeah, I love my wife and we're in a very stable marriage, but I don't know, Naz. That doesn't seem like a real Naz recommendation. It kind of hurts the soul. I will say the most underrated show that nobody is talking about on TV, 2 seasons. It's called The Other Two on HBO Max. I haven't laughed out loud in TV like that since Detroiters, which was again only 2 seasons on Comedy Central. I think the 2 funniest shows that have come out in the last 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
The other 2 takes place in New York. It's about entertainment. It's absolutely perfect. It's from some of the people that created 30 Rock and Molly Shannon and a bunch of Molly Shannon, Ken Marino, and a bunch of actors you may or may not have seen in other things before. Absolute hilarity. Just amazing. Yeah.
I love Molly. You had me at Molly Shannon.
And you had me at Molly Shannon too.
Ken Marino. So that is how it. But before we say goodbye to our contestants today, I do want to give it up to Josh Makuga, who again, Naz, I don't know if you've played Futility, the actual game of living yet, but you haven't. You need to. And everybody out there, you have ways of supporting this board game that Josh is now running off screen. I hope not because he's mad he lost. I hope he's actually going to go get a copy of the board game.
That would be really awkward.
It is one of the most fun board game. I love playing board games, have my entire life. this man who I'm lucky to call my friend occasionally. Look at that.
What?
Tell us where they can go support futility. There you go, Josh. Get those cans on quickly. Where can everybody support futility, the actual game of living?
Kickstarter, just look up Futility, the actual game of living. We have like 7 days left here, and we're almost to $35,000. It's a raunchy card game mixed with a classic board game. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll all love it. We're also, once we're done with the Kickstarter, we're gonna be setting up an Amazon store for it and trying to get it on shelves and stores worldwide.
Love it. There you guys have it. The future host of Jeopardy.
Oh,
Futility, just giving us some new games to live life with.
See, this is why I love this show, is because y'all come on here, it's spirited debate, you're going against each other, but I think that we forged a stronger friendship between Naz and Josh, and that's what it's all about, and that's what Ted Lasso is all about. So for Josh Macuga and Naz Perez, your winner today, and our incredible engineer, Christian Rubalcaba, behind the scenes, everybody here at Rotten Tomatoes, I am merely Mark Ellis saying thank you so much for tuning in. We talk about practice, but this was a great game of Binge Battle. We'll see you next time right here.
Believe.